In this demonstration, we're going to talk about the supervisor, manager, HSE, and mentor options that are available to assign another user on the profile. So there's a few features that come along with these assignments here. One of the biggest ones is that the supervisor, manager, and HSE and mentor give you that direct link to that other user's profile. So if I did need to see that my supervisor is Richard Winters, I can pop into his profile and review that here. So I get that direct link there. Also very similarly for the manager, HSE, and mentor, all of these become clickable links when you assign the user in there. Just so you know what HSE stands for, that stands for Health, Safety, and Environmental. So if you have a safety professional that kind of is housed over your organization, you can assign them on their profile. A few sections that get created with the supervisor and the mentor field when a user is assigned underneath someone's profile, they actually get this list of subordinates here. So for example, on Brandon Miller's profile, I am listed as his supervisor, so he becomes one of my subordinates. Additionally, any mentors that are assigned will also create a section on that supervisor or mentor's profile for their mentees. So if I click into Sam Chavez's profile here, you're actually going to see I am also listed as his mentor here. So again, gives you those direct links to pop back and forth and make that connection between profiles. And then there's also additional options you get within the site. So you will also get in the employee section the ability to kind of build out that hierarchy, allowing you to filter by those items. So if I did need to see who are all the employees assigned to Elena here, I can filter by that option. And now again, I see that Brandon Miller is assigned as my subordinate. Another option, if you have any mentors assigned. So here I have a mentor assigned as Sam Chavez. If they have any open tasks for training assigned to their profile here that are still due, I will get an acknowledgement confirming that Sam has training due here on my homepage because I am assigned as his mentor. So that's another functionality feature that comes into play when you assign someone as their mentor. They also get this acknowledgement when training is due for their users. Just a quick acknowledgement check to say, hey, Sam needs to complete their back safety. So you just check that you acknowledge it and kind of follow up with Sam at that point. So that's one option that you get with the task notifications for the mentor section. An additional option you get for those profile options is to assign out notifications and or workflow options to say when a form is filled out, we want to toggle it to their supervisor, mentor, HSE, any of those items on the profile. Those can be assigned out via tasks. Also, additionally, if you needed to turn off those acknowledgement tasks and or remove any of those fields to hide, you could do those in two different areas. So one is going to be first the site settings here in the control panel. If you didn't want them to receive that training acknowledgement task, you can disable those at any time under the site settings and then save your changes. If you didn't need to use maybe a supervisor or manager or even the mentor field and you didn't want it to show on the profile, you also have options to hide those as well. Again, those are just additional data trackers on the profile that give you the filters on the employee section and allows you to assign things out. But if you don't want to use those items, we do have it granular to where you can say, hey, we actually don't want to show those fields any longer, and you can toggle them off by two settings. One is the view setting to toggle off, and then the secondary option to get it to disappear is going to be the edit option. So you do need to toggle off view and edit to be able to remove it completely from your users' profiles so that it's no longer a field on there for them to track. So for example, let's say that I didn't want to use my manager field, but I was okay with using supervisor, HSE, and mentor showing on the profile. To hide that from everyone's view, the first step would be to look for the view manager permission here, and then we're going to toggle that off to denied and save our changes. Same thing with our manager role. We want to make sure that they don't see it. And then I'm also going to toggle it off for my admin users as well. Even though I have full access to do this and toggle it back on, if I just don't want it to show on the profile, I can deny it for myself as well. And then the next portion is to scroll down to the edit manager here, and then you can toggle that off as well. And this option here will now remove that option from showing the manager section on my profile so that I no longer see it. So again, just those additional features that you can track by and filter by if you need to. Another filter that you get on your roles and permissions grid here that is useful for your form section is the ability to also assign visibility based off of that data set. So for example, if I scroll down to my form section here, and we're talking about viewing that response data here, I can limit up those permissions to say, hey, we're only going to give them access to view this certain form only if their advisor is their supervisor. So now that gives them access to view their subordinates forms, and then that way they can see any subordinate submissions for the 360 walk around form. Of course, they can toggle that across the board if you limit all, and then if you do this drop down here, you can toggle it to supervisor, and it automatically does that for every single form that you have in your site. And then you would just save your changes and have that limited option accordingly from there. Of course, if you have any questions regarding the KPA EHS platform, feel free to reach out to our support team at support@kpaehs.com.